Hey everyone, I'm Tyler Metcalf and I watch the film so you don't have to. On this video, we're taking a look at the preseason scrimmage between Alabama and Florida State. Now, on the Alabama side, we got some good and bad flashes from London Jemison. I liked a lot of what Davion Hanna did. Taylor Bowen had a really nice game and showed what his impact as a role player could look like this year. On the Florida State side, Robert McCray V had a really fun game, and I'm excited to keep an eye on him. But the star of this game was Alabama's sophomore stud point guard, Labaron Philon. Philon was absolutely dominant in this game. The same awesome defense that we saw from him last year, the insane handle and scoring versatility and rim pressure as well, but it all took a step forward. Is important growth. Yes, I know it's just preseason, but there's always something to learn. Let's take a look at how Philon dominated, where he's grown, and what to keep an eye on that he still needs to improve at. Welcome to Film School. Let's dive in. Now, the biggest concern with Philon coming into this season was the outside shooting. Last year, shot 31.5% from three. Not great, but 7.1 attempts per 100 possessions. Pretty solid volume, especially for someone whose shooting efficiency wasn't quite there. Philon's shot looked incredible in this game, and it's not just that he made a handful of them and shot efficiently. It's the difficulty of these shots and the confidence that he stepped into them in and the variety. He wasn't just standing still. He wasn't just spotting up in the corner. And this one, early transition, he's pushing, and he doesn't have numbers here. You would almost just expect him to try and get to the rim, but you can see the defender sagging off, expecting the same, and instead, Philon just walks into a relatively open three. I love the confidence, and he just drains it. Here, high pick and roll, attacks, immediately sees drop defender is playing deep. He has his defender on his back, on his shoulder now, and in a position where his hips are parallel to the baseline. He knows that help defender can't really help that far off of Bowen in the strong side corner. So instead, since he knows that he has his defender in a vulnerable position, just slams on the brakes, steps back, creates a ton of space. Since the defender, all of his momentum is going straight that way, he's not in a position to slam on the brakes, flip his hips. Philon does a phenomenal job of manipulating that, rises up, splashes it home. That's the type of shot that you would not expect from someone who shot 31% from three last year. Here, DHO, similar thing. Just really confident. As he gets the switch out of this DHO, he knows he's now going against a bigger, slower defender on Florida State, and reuses the screen, catches a little bit of hesitation on the big wanting to switch back. He doesn't want to be defending out here, and Philon's initial defender is still too deep because he doesn't want to give up an easy slip to the rim and give up an easy 2 points. So he's trying to stay home. There's a little bit of miscommunication, and that's enough for Philon to sidestep, step back, plants that right foot, propels himself back, creates a ton of space, allows him to get that shot off easily. Really impressive. It always looks good when the shot goes in, but the fact that we saw Philon take and execute and just confidently take a lot of dynamic and versatile shot attempts from outside while it went in and it looked good, really encouraging start that hopefully continues throughout the entire season. Aside from the shooting, the other thing that really popped with Philon in this game was his handle, ability to get to the rim and create shots for himself. And he's so dynamic and shifty as a ball handler, as a slasher, getting downhill, creating contact, drawing fouls, finishing through contact, using his body to toy with defenders. It was such a fun blend of finesse and power and speed. It was an absolute masterclass from start to finish, and it's really encouraging that all of the handle and creativeness that we saw from him in flashes as more of a complementary role last year is seemingly immediately carrying over to this year, where he's going to be the guy and having a vastly higher usage and more difficult and a much higher level of difficulty in terms of responsibility. So the fact that he was this confident, this dynamic, had the ball on a string, really encouraging for just his scoring potential and continued growth and impact. So last year, and we just saw, obviously making shots on ball important in and of itself, but it also creates opportunities like this, where last year this defender probably wouldn't be closing out that aggressively, but after Philon splashed a couple threes in their face, the defender's a little more cognizant of, I might need to get out there. Great shot fake, little hesitation, looks at his teammate, sends 10 that way. Great hesitation, moves the defender, secures it high through the help dig, and finishes with the floater. Just crafty, patient, high pick and roll, great hesitation, toying with this big defender in space again, little head fake, and then I love the deceleration, the way that he's able to slam on the brakes. He can play fast, he can play slow, but he's always on balance. A little head fake gets the defender leaning, turns on the jets, little head fake again while slamming on the brakes, jumps back, completely against his momentum while his defender flies by, and drops it in, showcasing the scoring touch, body control. Again, just the way he slithers through here, and I love how the little hesitation here, and then just spins and explodes out of that, and then doesn't shy away from the contact here. He knows that his defender is still in the play, and instead of veering off towards the block to avoid the contact, he veers into him to protect the ball, make sure that he still has that good finishing angle, and finishes through the contact. Maybe should have gotten a foul. And I mean, this one's just, he didn't get the shot off, or he got fouled before the shot, but the way that he dances and skips through here, a little crossover, hesitation, denies the screen, gets over, now drop defenders trying to recover. Again, this is midway through the second half, so he's already knocked down a couple threes in similar situations that we just saw. A little head fake, gets the defender to close out even harder, maintains that dribble, splits the defense, reorganizes his feet to split the defense yet again. Foul got called already on the reach, but the handle is just so much fun. And this is just ISO blow by, and he has the finesse and the agility and the footwork and the speed, but he also has the strength, as we can see here. Look at how low he's getting here, initiating this contact. So once he gets his defender on his hip, it's so difficult for defenders to get back rim side of him because of how low he gets, how he does such a good job of getting into their body and refusing to let them get back rim side. And he's really comfortable finishing through the contact. Doesn't get the bucket here, but does get the foul. Again, just middle of the floor, going to work, high pick and roll, has a little hang dribble, another one, and just slides around it. And he just flows like water. It's so easy. And if you're reaching, he's probably going the other way and leaving you in the dust. His head fakes are nasty, and the importance of the head fake too. Obviously, a good head fake, always fun. But the fact, if he's actually going to be shooting it like he did in this game all year, these head fakes are only going to get more dangerous because the viability of him actually pulling up from there is a realistic option now if the shot continues to be real. So, yeah, man, defender can't be jumping at it like this, but also I get it because we saw some of those threes that he already knocked down in this game, and if he's able to maintain that all year, and he's going to be consistently putting defenders in torture chambers, and it's just going to be impossible to guard. The craft, the footwork, the patience. The game, and Philon showed brilliance with his rim pressure and slashing last year, but already it looks like it's taken another massive leap forward with how composed and patient and on balance he always is, whether he's in traffic or just being guarded one-on-one. All right, I know what you're thinking. You're like, my God, did this guy do anything wrong in this game? And unfortunately, he did. I was pretty underwhelmed with Philon's playmaking and passing reads. I thought the ball security was kind of rough, and the processing and playmaking reads that he was making was pretty disappointing. Now, we know Philon can be a good passer. Last year, he had an assist rate of almost 25, but that came in more of a complementary role. This year, he's going to be more in that primary role the vast majority of the time, so the playmaking reads in volume is going to be really different. And so far, it needs work. I thought he got baited into over-dribbling too much and was just a step or two slow on making his reads and didn't do a great job of reading weak side defenders. It wasn't horrible, but these were 3 possessions where I'm like, you're better than that. So here, and from the start, and he just goes too early here. So obviously this is just a ghost screen. So whatever. But as Davion Hannah comes to set a screen, Philon goes way too early, and his defender is able to get through that. And so once he sees the defender here, he's already just predetermined that he's passing to Hannah here, and he's not reading number 10 tagging him at all. Instead, and Amari Allen wide open on the weak side. Philon doesn't read it because he's like, oh, well, I have two defenders right here. Allen went out to the opposite wing, so that guy surely went with him. So Hannah should be wide open. He doesn't read it. It's predetermined, and Hannah does an incredible job of catching this in traffic through the turn. But that shouldn't be the read. That's not where you want that ball going. Hannah bails him out, is able to draw a foul, but process not great. Here, another high pick and roll. Gets the switch, and instinctually, and I like the idea here because that's so much space for Bowen to roll into, but he just leads him so far. He doesn't put the proper touch on it. He waits an extra step. Like right here, that ball needs to be out of his hands, and he's in the process of it, but he just puts too much arc on it, too much loft, and Bowen has enough space where he can be a little more direct with that pass. He has the length. A little more bullet pass would give Bowen a chance to either catch and kick out to one of the corners or, adjust and finish through contact or something at the rim. But by lofting it that high, he leads him too far. Bowen can't get there. Even if he does, there are going to be two help defenders converging on him along with his primary. It just felt unnecessary in this situation. Then here, high pick and roll again. Bowen's rolling and just predetermined. He just isn't reading this guy well enough here because the pass is fine. And if you take number 2 out, it's right in stride, leading him to the rim. Fantastic. Unfortunately, number 2 is out there because both teams get to play with 5 players. So Philon, he's trying to look away. We can see him looking off there, and the help defender doesn't bite. Maybe Philon should be looking at him. Instead, 2 does a great job rotating, good hands, pokes it loose, and it's just the predetermined stuff out of the pick and roll where Philon didn't do a great job most of this game reading that help defender who's making those rotations onto rollers. Not cause for concern, or it's not a red flag or anything glaring, but it's absolutely something I'm going to be keeping an eye on with Philon's playmaking to see just how it progresses throughout the year. We know he can be a good passer in a complementary role, but pivoting into that primary playmaker role, totally different ballgame. So where does that leave us with Labaron Philon? Now, coming into the year, Philon was one of the leading candidates for sophomore breakout. And yes, it's just one game, and yes, it's just one preseason game, but Philon looked incredible. And I know I was nitpicking some of the playmaking stuff, but the ball security and playmaking reads and the speed and the consistency of it simply needs to improve if he's going to really take on that true point guard role. We know he can be a good passer, but it's a different world he's living in now as the number 1 guy on the opposing team scouting report instead of the 3rd or 4th. What was really, really encouraging, though, was the scoring versatility and efficiency. Even when he didn't finish around the rim, he was typically drawing a foul. But we saw how good the handle continued to be. It somehow got even better, it looks like, from last year. He's so composed, does such a good job of playing through contact, both in the open court and around the rim. And if the shot continues to look how it looked in that game, Philon's going to be in for one heck of a season and could be one of the very top point guard prospects in the 2026 NBA draft.